Okay, we're good to go on YouTube. Sweet, I can see your screen, Steve. And there's no burping, so we're ready to rock. Can't hear you though. You talking, Steve? You gotta unmute yourself. Let me Yep, there you go. Boom, ask to unmute.
I was like, how do I communicate with you? All right. So hopefully everyone is doing great tonight. You can hear me okay, Avery?
Yep, loud and clear.
Perfect. So I know today is all about, selling books, but I wanted to touch on CDs and DVDs first, because I feel like CDs, books, DVDs, they're kind of all in the same category. And, drop a comment down below if you can. Who's here because they want to make money, right? Obviously, you want to learn how to make some money. You want to be able to build more freedom. Maybe you want to spend more time with your family. Maybe you have a job. I'm curious down below in the comments, what's the reason why you're here? Is it, obviously it's money, but like, is it freedom? Is it you hate your job? Is it, you just maybe want to save. And I started with books, but I'll tell you right now, CDs and DVDs have really, really been a game changer for me. And for anyone here who's selling books, you should 100% be selling CDs and DVDs. It's literally free money sitting at the thrift stores, garage sales, library sales. If you're doing eBay to Amazon, Amazon to Amazon, and it's actually very surprising. I feel from, the decade of coaching and helping others and jumping on phone calls and just working with students, most booksellers just sell books, which is very interesting. There's a lot of booksellers who don't sell CDs and DVDs, and I've sold thousands of them. Probably in the last 3 years alone, I'm probably coming up on close to 10,000 CDs and DVDs that I've sold. In the last year alone, I've sold $700,000 worth of items on Amazon, and many of these items were CDs and DVDs. Okay, so I want to share with you guys some tips for how to get started. These are my sales, just so you can see.
I'm going to answer their question real quick. You asked them what they're doing this for. We got a lot of people saying freedom, travel. We got Amy saying money and freedom. Wazret saying financial freedom. That's a good name you chose for your little group, Reselling Freedom. A lot of people saying freedom here.
I was looking at all the comments as they were coming through, and then I just subconsciously got overwhelmed by the slides. But yeah thanks everyone for sharing.
Grocery bill, says Shannon. Take it away.
Nice. Yeah, the last year I've sold a little over 9,000 items for $730,000. I do a lot of online arbitrage, so this is far from profit. My profit comes out to around 25%. If you do thrifting, it's going to be 40-50% at the end of the day, but I do a lot of online arbitrage. You can see my average selling price is $80. So believe it or not, a lot of books, books, CDs and DVDs, you could sell for $50, $60, $70, $80. I also flip tools, electronics, a bunch of different items. So this isn't all just media items, but there's really big opportunities here. Now I want to share why I recommend and why I love flipping CDs and DVDs. There's three main reasons why. Number one, while most people probably hate dealing with restrictions and gated categories, for me, I love it, because in order to resell CDs and DVDs, you're going to have to get ungated in this category. And while it sounds bad and it sounds like a hassle, which it is a tiny bit, it's actually a good thing for limiting competition. Okay, and more details will be coming soon. I'll share with you guys exactly how to get ungated in CDs and DVDs. I'll share with you an example of an invoice, how to mark it up, how to get ungated super duper quick. I've helped hundreds of people get ungated in CDs and DVDs for really cheap. Most resellers ignore them, like I mentioned. Most media sellers stick to just books and only books, since there's no restrictions. Now, obviously, there are some restrictions with some of the popular textbooks. But in that situation, Avery, what do people do if they got restricted textbooks? You already know.
There's a lot of different things you can do. You can sell them on eBay. You can go to bookscouter.com and sell them, or send them to restrictedinventory.com. A lot of different methods to monetize textbooks.
Yeah, I was setting you up for that last one. So when it comes to CDs and DVDs, there's an abundance of opportunities sourcing. Just because the category is gated, most people don't think you can get ungated easily. Obviously, if you've been in this community for a while, it's pretty easy. But 95% of the people in the real world aren't like us, right? Watching YouTube videos, studying, going to the, going to boot camps and webinars, so on and so forth. And then last but not least is profit margins. When it comes to CDs and DVDs, the profit margins are absolutely insane, similar to books. And that's why we all sell books, right? They're easy to ship. They're lightweight for the most part, maybe not textbooks. But the margins are crazy, right? The margins are really, really good with media items, okay? So how to get ungated in CDs and DVDs. I'm gonna just break this down. And after this, Avery, I'll share with you all my slides. So don't worry about taking notes, everybody, for my presentation. I'm gonna share all these slides with you. But go to christianbook.com, search for a DVD or a CD. So to get ungated in CDs and DVDs, those are two different things. You have to buy 10 of the cheapest item or 10 of, let's just say a DVD, if you want to get ungated for DVDs, 10 DVDs of the same ASIN. Okay, so if you want to get ungated, you have to buy 10 quantity of one ASIN. And then essentially after you buy those, and again, you could buy them and just be like, hey, I'm going to just find like 10 that are like $3 each. I'm going to spend $30. I'm not even going to send them to Amazon because they're not profitable. The whole goal is to get ungated. You can go that route, or you can go on christianbook.com, and sometimes you can find DVDs that make $1 or $2 or $3, but a lot of times they're long tail. So getting ungated isn't like a moneymaker opportunity. You're probably going to lose a little bit, but then you get to ungate yourself in that category and sell CDs and DVDs. So you have to do it for CDs, you have to do it for DVDs. Buy 10 of a single ASIN of a CD or a DVD, and then after you purchase it from christianbook.com, be on the lookout for an invoice online. Sometimes they'll give you a digital invoice. Other times when the 10 DVDs or CDs are shipped to you, they'll give you a physical invoice. Now, the third step is you want to go ahead and get approved. So go into Amazon Seller Central, click add a product. You're going to see you're gated, and then follow the instructions that Amazon wants you to do, which is upload an invoice. Okay. And I want to share with you what that invoice is going to look like. So over here at christianbook.com, this is an invoice from one of my students. I obviously marked it up to, not share the important details, but you can see I highlight the quantity. I circle, I just put a little square around the ASIN, highlight the title. Okay. So highlight the name and address, highlight the quantity. Okay, highlight the name and description, and then write the ASIN or circle the ASIN you're trying to get ungated for. Make sure it's at least 10, and you could just snap a picture of this and upload it. And that's the process for getting ungated. It's really not that hard. Like if you're restricted in like Hasbro, or you're restricted in some type of grocery item, you're restricted in, maybe it's a tool brand like Milwaukee. You've got to find a distributor. Granger is a great one for electronics and tools. A lot of people use Kohl's to get ungated. You got to be careful though. There's a whole, science to it, and it's always changing. Amazon's been getting a little strict lately. So you got to be careful and go into the Facebook groups if you're trying to get ungated and say, hey, what's a good distributor for this brand or this product? But Christian Book works, christianbook.com works really, really well. Avery, if you could,
yeah, I'm working on it.
yeah. Someone got excited about getting an invoice uploaded. So, Mary, you go get it. You go get it, girl. So, when it comes to selling CDs and DVDs, from my experience, there's like seven different categories you want to be aware of in terms of like the sales rank, in terms of what I consider to be like I would not sell. Like with DVDs, I classify DVDs under 20,000 rank as high risk of counterfeit, especially if you're doing eBay to Amazon, especially if it's like a complete series DVD or it's like kind of one of those box sets. I stay away from DVDs that are less than 20,000 rank, unless you're buying from a trustworthy distributor and you have an invoice. I personally stay away from them just because I do mostly eBay to Amazon. And there's a lot of people like from India and China who, how it is. Like India is like one of the #1 counterfeit producers for books, right, Avery?
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of counterfeits come. That's why they don't allow people to sell textbooks anymore. And there's a lot of counterfeit CDs and DVDs too out there.
Yeah, and they'll create accounts from India and China under a U.S. They'll get a U.S. business and they'll cover themselves up to look like a U.S. resident.
And that's exactly, that's why it's so hard to get your account unsuspended. And that's what David's going to be talking about next is like, Amazon does not trust you. They think you might be one of these counterfeiters overseas. So it's a very difficult process.
To this because they're talking about like Amazon account.
Yes, we are, Don. We can hear you. I'm going to mute you real quick.
What's up, Don? Good to see you here. So for CDs, I'm not really worried about counterfeits as much. It's really DVDs. You know, I'll talk about this in another presentation, how to identify a DVD that is counterfeit. Mostly, you're going to want to look at the graphic and the artwork on it, so on and so forth. But as a general rule of thumb, less than 20K, I stay away from it. The sweet spot for CDs and DVDs is 20 to 40,000 rank. 40 to 80,000 is excellent. Okay, 80 to 100,000 rank in CDs and DVDs is good. It's a good rank.
I know, but I thought you meant like the 12.
I don't know how everyone's unmuting themselves.
Let me. I'll find the setting. I'm trying to upgrade my account too because we're maxed out at 100 right now. So working on.
Man, where's Rustin when you need him?
I know, right?
Get him on the overtime, man. Average rank 100 to 130,000 rank. So start being a little bit careful if you're going to be picking up CDs and DVDs that only make $6-7 profit at 100 to 130,000 rank. 130 to 200,000 rank, in my opinion, is slow. And then super slow is 200 to 300,000. Now, I like my inventory to turn typically within 3 months. In my business, it's usually about a month and a half. But if you're going to thrift, I like it to turn within 3 months to 4 months. If you start getting into 150, 200,000, 300,000 rank CDs and DVDs, there's a good chance they're going to sit for a long, long time. And you're going to learn quite quickly when you're running your, Amazon business, you're in the business of turning over product. So if a DVD or CD is ranked 150,000 or more, I typically recommend merchant fulfilling it to avoid long-term storage fees and the risk of it never selling. So let me repeat that. If the rank is over 150,000, and this is a general rule of thumb, I typically will merchant fulfill it, which I actually don't merchant fulfill. So I just ignore it. I won't buy it. But if you're a merchant fulfiller and FBA, once it gets over 150K, I'd merchant fulfill it because there's a good chance it might sit forever. The price might erode, and there's a good chance you might have to liquidate it long term or pay a good amount of money to get it shipped back to you. So those are just some general rules to keep an eye out for. So my sweet spot for sourcing CDs, really it's 20 to 40, but I'd say 20 to 80,000 rank is kind of where you want to be hanging out. Of course, this is a general rule of thumb. If I find a rare DVD that's going to make $60 profit, that's 160,000 rank. But I notice the reason the rank is really high is because there's no history of sellers over the last 3 months, or they're all merchant fulfillers. There's exceptions to the rule, but typically 20 to 80,000 rank. I usually like to flip CDs and DVDs with a minimum of a 40 to a 60% return on investment. I usually won't sell a CD or a DVD if it makes less than $5 profit. If the offer count is increasing, I will price less aggressively and vice versa. So when I'm dealing with CDs and DVDs, I'm paying close attention to the number of sellers on the listing. So, if there's normally 5 sellers on the listing and the DVD or CD is normally selling for about 50, if all of a sudden I notice in the last month it's gone from 5 to 12 sellers, even if the price is staying the same, I know there's a good chance that price is going to slowly start to tank, because that's how it works on Amazon. If there's more sellers and the demand isn't exceeding that, typically the price is going to erode. And my last point is use Keep It to review previous sales to be able to really gain the true intrinsic value of a product. You've got to be very careful with all these apps. It could be sourcing apps. It could be scanning apps. You've really, a lot of times you might scan something and it says it's profitable, but is it really profitable? Or, as an example, are they telling you, hey, you could sell this for $50, and maybe there's 4 people, 49, 50, 51, 52, but is it really going to sell for that? You're not really going to be able to know until you look into Keep Up or take a look at the previous history of that product to see what it's sold for in the past. If it's only sold for 20, 25, 30, 35, but all of a sudden someone priced it at 50 or 60 and then everyone piggybacked on that, the rank might be getting really high. It might slow down in sales because the market wants to pay $20 or $30. So that's why, you really want to pay attention to what it's done in the past to gain the true intrinsic value. So 3 ways to source CDs and DVDs: scan, thrift stores, library sales. Most booksellers, as I mentioned in the beginning, are going to ignore these. They're typically just going after books. I personally like to go after new CDs and DVDs because they go for a premium. You can, if you're using Scout IQ, you can set up some custom triggers to set up some different rules for when you're scanning CDs and DVDs, used, new. But typically, I'll just look for the new ones. I'll just pull out the Amazon seller app because the data is going to be more accurate, and I'll just scan the new stuff. Usually, the new stuff compared to used when it comes to CDs and DVDs is like 5%. 95% will be used. So you can kind of run through it pretty quick. I personally do mostly eBay to Amazon. So I like to cherry pick, rare and high ticket, high ASP CDs and DVDs. Right now, my average selling price for the last, 4.5 months for this year is over $120. So I've really lowered the volume of products I'm sourcing. And matter of fact, in the last couple of years, I've tripled my average selling price. So less volume, have higher average selling price. A great software you can use is Flipmine. Flipmine's a great software to be able to find CDs, DVDs, books on eBay, to flip it on Amazon. And then, of course, local pickups, Facebook Marketplace, Nextdoor. You can put out wanted ads on these websites. I know Avery, he's talked about it for years, using Nextdoor, putting out wanted ads. And matter of fact, when my girlfriend first got started with books, she doesn't do it anymore because she ended up getting a job with the state, and she's not ready to have the side hustle on top of all that. But she found, I think, her first like $300, $400, $500 of profit from a Nextdoor ad, thanks to Avery sharing that. So local pickups are great. And kind of wrap things up, common mistakes to avoid. If you're selling CDs, be careful with broken jewel cases if you're selling it new. If it's used, you can actually pick up some jewel cases and replace things if you want, but be careful because it's a little time intensive. And if you're only making $2, $3, $4 on a CD, it's not really worth it. If I'm selling a new CD and the jewel case is broken, I'll just sell it as used. Rank on DVDs less than 20K. Be careful. Like I said, complete seasons, highly likely to be counterfeit. Jewel cases, like the CD jewel cases that have holes drilled in them or they're sliced on the side, those are manufacturer discards. Be careful. You can't sell those as new. Matter of fact, I don't even know if you can sell them as used. Maybe Avery knows, but I just stay away from them. So be careful of that. If an item is used, make sure it's not all scratched up. Test your used items. That should be pretty evident. And used items, for me personally, if I'm selling a used CD or a used DVD, I always put it in a poly bag. I know Avery will probably cringe at that because he's like Mr. Efficient. But for me, I don't want them opening up. And I've seen it over and over again, used CDs and DVDs opening up. So you can get a 6x9 poly bag for like a couple pennies each and just slide them in. So
yeah. And if you're having a prep center do it, who cares? But if you're doing it yourself, yeah, it kind of does slow you down.
Exactly. So that's my presentation, guys. Hopefully this inspires you to start flipping CDs and DVDs. Again, I'll share the link to my presentation with Avery afterwards. So if you want to share it with folks. But yeah, thanks so much for watching, guys. I appreciate you. If you want to follow me, you can check me out on YouTube at Rake and Profit, Instagram, TikTok. But yeah, thanks so much, Avery. Appreciate it.
100%. Yeah. And thanks for sharing all that. And guys, speaking of CDs and DVDs, part of the $1,000 giveaways, I do have a few CDs that I'm sneaking in there. So I have CDs, DVDs. So if you're not currently ungated and you want to win the $1,000, you will need to get ungated. And again, Steve just went over all that and we'll help you get ungated if you need. We're also going to be giving away $500 cash. So that's the exciting part. You'll get $500 in profitable items. Usually it's probably about $600 in profitable items. I have them right here on the table. You guys see? Went out and sourced them all. And I'm going to send you guys $500 cash as well. So that's coming soon. Here in probably about 30 minutes, we'll get going with that giveaway. Do you see David in here? There he is. Boom. I'm going to ask you to mute yourself. Perfect timing. Guys, we're maxed out on attendees. We are at 100. And we upgraded our Zoom account last week, but it's apparently not good enough yet. So if you guys are having trouble, don't leave. If you leave, you're not going to be able to come back. And we're currently live on YouTube as well. So YouTube, appreciate you guys watching. But, man, this Zoom is getting lit in here. What up, David? Give me a test. I can hear you loud and clear. You got a presentation you want to share with us? And where you at?
I'm out right now. I'm supposed to meet up with a few folks here in about half an hour.
Oh yeah, we appreciate your time,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, absolutely. No presentation.
Okay, sweet.
But I'll keep it short and simple.
And briefly, real
just
quick,
wanted to
guys,
share-
because I was looking for you and I was kind of panicking before I gave you a proper introduction. David's almost selling $1 million a month in used books. He's been selling on Amazon for over 15 years, and he's experienced several account shutdowns. So the information he's about to share with you, people charge thousands of dollars for, or they don't even have access to. He's been through the trenches, and he's gotten all of his accounts. Whenever they get shut down, he always gets them back. And he's just going to share with you kind of like a philosophy and mentality of what to do to not only prevent your account from getting shut down, but also, protect yourself from these things happening, because bad things happen. Go ahead and take it away, David.
Yeah, absolutely. So about a month ago, I was in Europe with my family. We were on a 3-week vacation visiting a lot of parts of Europe that I've never been to for the first time. And we visited Italy, ate delicious pizza in Italy, pretty much just living the dream of the Amazon seller lifestyle, right? Being able to work remotely, make money, and enjoy time with family. And so it was in Switzerland that I received a text message from our director of operations asking if I was busy and that they needed to speak to me ASAP. And so, of course, I reached out to them and found out that our account got suspended. And so, obviously, worst nightmare, worst thing that you can, hear as an Amazon seller. And we went from, I think we were selling about like 1,800 units a day to being completely suspended in books. And so our sales dropped down to like, I think less than 200 units a day, which is still a lot, but having a staff of about 35, 20,000 square foot facility to try to keep afloat without sales is really challenging. And so then that started a pretty arduous process in trying to get our account back. And so today I just wanted to briefly share what my timeline looked like to get the account back, the exact steps that I took, and what you guys can do should you ever find yourself in that situation. And so we received our first notice from Amazon on April 11th. And what had happened was that a customer received a book from us and marked it as counterfeit. And this book, I've seen copies of it. It was published in the 1980s. It was about ship making, like boats. And very, very unlikely that it was counterfeited, but the customer just wanted to figure out a way to return that book is the likely cause. And so on April 11th, we received our first email from Amazon. That email was marked like as unimportant from our customer service staff, which was a problem in its own. April 16th, we received a second email from Amazon requesting an appeal. And again, that email was incorrectly marked as unimportant. So I'll get to that here in a second. April 18th, 2 days after our last notice from Amazon, Amazon suspended our account. And that's when we went out and we spent $3,500 on a consultant to assist us with the account suspension. And then we paid an additional $1,500 for expedited service shortly after that. And it wasn't until 5 days after we originally reached out to our Amazon consultant that they finally reached back out with an appeal. 5 days. About 8 hours after submitting that appeal, it was swiftly denied by Amazon. And then we went through several more appeals. What we ended up doing was we determined that waiting around for the consultant to get back to us, which was often several hours, was not the right way to go. And so what we decided to do is take matters into our own hands and just respond back to Amazon with what they requested pretty much immediately. And so what we did was we reached out to open a case via Amazon Help and spoke to a rep who seemed pretty helpful. They recommended a bunch of things. We submitted invoices based on that, and those invoices and appeals were subsequently denied as well. One of the things that you guys should keep in mind is that Amazon is such a large company that the advice and the guidance that different teams are going to provide you, it's going to be very fragmented and it's often going to be incorrect. And so when we reached out to Amazon Help, they offered good guidance on what to do, but it wasn't exactly what the account health team were looking for. And so we actually ended up reaching out to account health assurance the following day. And I'll get a little bit more into that, but we reached out to account health assurance, and they were able to guide us through to the exact requirements that Amazon required for their appeal. And I think, let's see, we then submitted our 5th appeal for this suspension at 7:30 p.m. on April 26th. And then about 9 hours after that, we got our account back. And so what actually worked, what didn't work? First and foremost, in our case, hiring a consultant ended up being a waste of time and money. I think in other cases, suspension consultants are a good value, but in the case for oftentimes booksellers, our invoice requirements and our invoicing capabilities are often different. We don't get invoices from big distributors and big suppliers like many other Amazon sellers do. And so again, a lot of the advice that they were providing for us just was not applicable. So what actually did work? The first thing is just being swift, and so not waiting several days to reply back. I guess actually even prefacing that, first thing you should do is you should set an alert on your inbox for emails from Amazon's what is it called, the account suspension team. And that email, Avery, is there any way we can drop this email into the chat?
Yeah.
So everyone can
I can. What do you mean drop the email?
So there's a specific email that Amazon sends all of their requests for.
Mm-hmm. You have a link to it?
Appeals. Yep. Here, I just dropped the link.
Okay, perfect.
Do you see that right there? I'm sorry, that's to Bill's OtterBox. Hold on 1 second. I'll send it to you all.
Boom,
Right
yeah. There it is. Got it.
Yep. So the first thing that I recommend everyone do right now is if you use Gmail, Yahoo, whatever, you should be able to set up flags and automated alerts if you receive emails from a certain email address. I would definitely flag this email. Again, our customer service team, we have like 4 people on that team. And so again, we're closing out tickets left and right. We get about 200 tickets every day. And it likely just got incorrectly flagged as unimportant.
Interesting.
So
Yeah, I dropped that on YouTube too for everyone. So everyone, if you want to take that email, it's also in the YouTube comments.
Awesome. And then the next thing too is, again, going back to timeliness. I would not sit around and wait for someone else to tell you what to do. I would figure out exactly what Amazon is requesting and provide it to them. And if they're requesting, like, let's say an invoice and you don't have an invoice, I would suggest starting to work on figuring out how you can get an invoice. Twice we've been flagged for needing invoices, and both times what has worked is providing an invoice from Goodwill. We work with a lot of the Goodwills in the country, and again, as long as the invoice receipt includes all the details that Amazon requires, which is business name, business address, that matches your Amazon account, and then the ASIN that is in question, Amazon will approve those invoices from Goodwill. And so again, being timely and just getting the appeals back to Amazon, that would have cut our suspension from 10 days down to 2. The second thing is resolving account issues. When we went to appeal the first 2-3 times, we still had pending account health issues that we were not aware of. This could be something like email, like having outstanding emails that are beyond the SPP, and then also having other account health issues, other policy violations on your account. You want to make sure that you clear out any high impact account issues before you submit your appeal, because Amazon does take that into consideration. And then also, this is probably the most important thing, is having access to account health assurance. This is another thing that I would write down. Every Amazon account has access to account health assurance, which was the final Amazon rep that I reached out to, that was able to give me the exact documentation requirements that I needed in order to have a successful appeal. Everyone has access to account health assurance as long as your account health score is above 250 for 6 months. If your account health score is below 250, I would recommend doing whatever it takes, starting from right now, to make sure that score is above 250. And the reason I say that is because the account health assurance team is a team that will let you know exactly what you need to provide in order to have the highest chance of getting your account reinstated. And then again, resubmitting your appeal. Sometimes good appeals, it takes multiple submissions to pass. In our case, our last 2 appeals were pretty similar, but it took 2 times in order to get it approved. And then lastly, as a sort of a last-ditch effort, one of the things that you can do is write an appeal letter directly to the executive seller relations team. And how you would do that is essentially take your plan of action, your appeal letter, and put it all into a single email. And from the email associated with your Amazon seller account, you want to send an email to jeff@amazon.com, which that gets passed on to the executive seller relations team. And so I know I threw a lot of information there. There's a lot more that unfortunately I just can't get through in this short time. But like, what I'd say is like the $5,000 that I spent for the Amazon consultants, it can be pretty much boiled down to making sure that your account health is up to date, making sure that you have receipts and invoices on standby should you get policy violation and you need to submit an appeal, and then just making sure that you flag the email from Amazon, and then also having access to the account health assurance team. Like, those are probably the 5 things that I would say, like, make sure that you jot down, put on a sticky note right next to your desktop display, so that way you have access to these steps should you face account suspension. I think the last thing that I'll say is, like, this was a really bad situation for us. We lost 10 days of sales. Probably had an impact of about $150,000 to $200,000 on our business. We're still recovering from it. And one of the first things that I did immediately after we were suspended and reinstated was I started working on an internal guide for our team to use should we get suspended again. So that way we're not paying for expensive consultants. And so I created a 20-page guide to just guide our team through it. I just wrapped it up today in preparation for this. And I want to be able to offer this guide to all of you guys. I'll drop a link into the chat. And I have a promo code for everyone here as well, should you be interested. I'd say about 80% of the stuff that I shared already, 80% of what I shared, or yeah, what I shared is about 80% of what's in the guide. And so you don't necessarily need to go out and get the guide, but it does have like templates on for plan of action and other key information. Sorry, trying to do multiple things at once. The promo code that'll save you 50% is Bootcamp24. Again, this is just our internal guide. Take it or leave it. We also built out an AI-powered appeal generation tool that'll pretty much write appeals and plans of actions for you, powered by ChatGPT, and that's included in this.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yep, and it's trained on like 200 pages of documentation on previous suspensions and appeals on work. And so, yeah.
Yeah, I think this is really exciting.
This is
I mean, a lot of people already know who you are, but I mean, a lot of people are just meeting you today, David. So I think it's, an exciting opportunity or potential opportunity for you to be kind of, or maybe this philosophy rather, to be a solution for the community. Because so many times people get suspended and they think, oh, I can't get my account back or this or that, or they go to some company and pay them $5,000 and the company doesn't help them. I have no problem saying I had a terrible experience with Riverbend Consulting and I do not recommend them. And having someone in the community who's been through it is in a strategy that works is huge. So if you guys want to check out that guide, feel free. The link is below. And also, can they reach out to you on Instagram as well at Dave Can Read?
Yeah, yep, absolutely. You can reach me at Dave Can Read. It was just such a traumatic experience.
Yeah.
We were like a week away from furloughing half of our staff and just like starting to like figure out how to go fundraising. But hopefully this guide prevents you from ever getting into that situation.
100%. We have a few questions we can bang out real quick if we can have a couple more minutes of your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we got Brian saying, how can you boost your IPI score number? Brian Fisher's asking. Who's at Miami Sellers Conference? I don't know if you remember him. He was wearing the hat. Yeah, you remember Brian?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So the IPI is based on a multitude. I'm sorry. So it's not necessarily the IPI. What you're looking for is specifically the account health rating. And so that's going to be found under Seller Central. And then on the, depending on where you're looking at it, the account health module, it should say healthy or poor, but hopefully it says healthy. And then once you click on that, you'll see an account health rating. I can drop this into, cool. I just dropped this into the chat. It'll show you an account health rating. And this is, again, it's based on a multitude of factors. They're looking at your order defect, negative feedback. They're looking at all other
Recording
issues.
stopped.
Oh.
And go ahead.
No, you got it. I need to start recording again.
Recording in progress.
And one of the things that I'll say is it's based on a multitude of different factors. Some of it appears to be based on again, like how long your account has been healthy. But there's also what is it called? A help page that goes into all the different factors into your account health rating. Again, I've probably talked to 8 sellers now in the last 2 weeks about getting their account back, and just having access to talk to someone who has information that will like directly help you get your account back is just priceless. Like I can't put a price on that. And so just making sure that, we're very fortunate to have account health rating of 1,000. But, I think oftentimes, like I have access to another account here where our account health is, I think, 600. And so, you can't always expect 1,000, but anything above 250, you're good.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. All right. Anything else for people? We got someone asking, if you're thrifting, how do you protect yourself from account deactivation? Do you want to kind of harp on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's a very good question. What I would say and what I recommend is first and foremost, you need to have invoices to be able to trace, like, to show Amazon that you're getting supply from reputable sources. If you're thrifting, Amazon will not accept a receipt, unfortunately. They will not accept a receipt. And so one of the things that I would recommend is maybe even talking to your local Goodwill and saying, hey, part of us selling on Amazon is that we need specific invoicing requirements. And so again, get ahead of the ball on that. And even if you're thrifting, maybe you can talk to, oftentimes they're called the secondary markets coordinators or salvage coordinators. What they do is they sell, they do most of the B2B sales within the organization. And so again, introducing yourself to them, and oftentimes they can generate an invoice for you based on your purchase history with that Goodwill. And so they'll be able to, again, the most important thing is that it's on a like PDF, right? That has your business name that matches up with your Amazon account, your address that also matches up with your Amazon account, a point of contact, and so you have to have their name and phone number, email address, and then lastly, like the ASIN requirement, which is probably the toughest. I'm trying to see. Can I quickly share my screen?
Yeah, go for it. You should be able to at the bottom.
Yep. Cool. So I'm going to just share my screen right here. And so this is the invoice that has twice gotten me out of trouble. It says Goodwill on the top. I redacted everything, but it would say Goodwill on the top, their name, their address. Again, where it says John Johnson, it would have, in our case, his name was Brian Robinson, the fellow who helped us. The date is obviously important. It has to match up with the dates that Amazon requests. Your business name on Amazon, address listed on Amazon, email associated with Amazon. This area right here, where it says ASIN here, title in question here. What I've been able to do in the past is if Goodwill is unable to add the actual ASIN and title in question, what I do is I just either handwrite it, or what I'd recommend is type it in using, a PDF editor, just so that Amazon is able to see, that make a connection between the invoice and the ASIN. And so, again, like whatever you need to do, if you're thrifting from Salvation Army has a B2B person that you can reach out to. Just get ahead of it. And what I would do is really Amazon requests invoices with pretty big windows, I think 6 months to a year. But what I would do is just to be out of it, every quarter, mark it into your calendar to just reach out to them, asking them to send you aggregated invoice for the last quarter based on everything you purchased. It's a little bit of work for them, but it's kind of like cover your ass insurance should you have a policy violation and need that invoice. It's going to be a lot easier to just have it saved on your in your downloads folder, or your documents folder on your computer, than have to go through several days of back and forth reaching out to them, asking them to generate an invoice, and then only then sending it to Amazon, only to have Amazon potentially reject it 2-3 times before they accept it. But yeah, this is the exact invoice. I just redacted everything personally identifying, but yeah, this was our exact invoice that we used.
Sweet.
Got us undated.
It's amazing. Yeah, it worked for me a few years ago. So, I mean, like not this exact strategy, but I went to the thrift store that I was purchasing bulk books from. And I don't know if I put the ASIN in or not. I can't remember, but you did recommend to get like a nicer looking invoice to upload. I can't remember if I put the ASIN at the top or not, but
You did, because I remember helping you edit that one to add the ASIN into it. I'm trying to find an example of one where I helped the seller with an invoice that would have worked, but their handwriting was really, really bad, and it was just really confusing and hard to, again, make the connection between the invoice and the ASIN in question. And unfortunately, their appeal got rejected several times. And so I typically recommend editing it on a computer if you have the knowledge to do that. And guess what? A step-by-step guide for 2 different ways to do that is in the guide as well. So
sweet. Yeah, guys, go check it out. Thanks, David, so much for your time. I'll let you go hang out with your friends, and I'll see you here in a couple days.
all right, sounds good.
All right.
Thanks,
See you,
Jay.
brother. All right, guys, I feel like I'm in the movie Inception right now because I'm sharing my screen. And over on YouTube, I'm already sharing my screen. But I want to show you guys real quick how you can enter this giveaway. So I'm going to give one of you guys $500 cash and then about $600 in profitable items shipped directly to your house. All you need to do to enter the giveaway, if you're already a GoToLister user, comment your email below that you have. To make sure it's the same exact email that you used to log in with GoToLister, and my team will verify that during the giveaway to make sure. So we're doing this giveaway for GoToLister users only, so that's a catch. It's a free giveaway. You can sign up for GoToLister and get a free trial today. If you guys don't know what GoToLister is, you can go to GoToLister.com and learn more about it. But again, I'm doing this screen shareception right now. So Zoom, hopefully everything will work out fine. And YouTube, you're about to see this, but this is what GoToLister is, and this is how it can save you time and money. So check this out.
Attention Amazon FBA booksellers. I used to hate listing books on Amazon because of how long it took, but GoToLister has fixed that. GoToLister allows me to scan, label, and ship 100 plus books per hour. It's the fastest listing software that exists for Amazon sellers. Listing fast allows me to spend more time finding profitable inventory rather than listing all day. One of the best things about GoToLister is our intelligent pricing feature that automatically prices your faster selling items at higher prices. Click the link below to give GoToLister a free trial for 14 days.
So it's factually the fastest listing software on the planet. If you guys didn't catch that already, I'm going to show you one more video real quick. We're the only listing software that allows you to scan as fast as you want, which, you know, when I was sourcing books out in Boston, and for some reason, like every Airbnb I stayed at, I had to go to the 3rd floor of the Airbnb. So I was lugging all these books up the stairs, and it pissed me off how long it took me to list the books. And I wish there was something fast enough just to scan them all and get them out. But instead, I had to use slow Wi-Fi in Boston to scan the book, wait for that slow Amazon response time. I was using Accelerlist at the time. And then finally, it would allow me to print the label. So if you guys watch my employee here, she is actually able to scan, you know, basically like every quarter second. She can technically scan like 100 books in a minute if she wanted to. Check this out.
The number one thing I love about it most is it helps me.
Steve, he's not my employee. Let me find my employee. I made a video with her. Here she is right here.
The reason I love the new GoToLister.com is because I can scan faster than I ever have been able to on any other listing app. Watch how quickly I can scan over 35 books.
Her to keep scanning. So that's GoToLister. The last thing I'll say about GoToLister is, you know, if you didn't already see, we have smart pricing. And we also tell you a lot of repricers out there, they won't, I mean, repricers, that's a whole nother topic, but no software has access to all the prices that Amazon wants to give you because Amazon wants to keep the prices low to keep the customer happy. Amazon is a consumer-centric business. Of course, they want to sell our items at the cheapest price possible. So even if you're using a repricer, odds are you're losing money. And while I don't promise that our smart pricing is going to be the best ever, I do promise that we'll tell you when we don't know. And so by telling you when we don't know, we say, hey, there are 0 or few FBA offers. We don't know what your price is at. We automatically price it a little bit higher for you so you can make more money. But these books are huge, huge, huge opportunities for you guys to really increase your profit. So this is only 1 in 20 or 1 in 30 books. You'll see this notification. There are 0 or few FBA offers. That means there's no prime competition. There's nobody else selling this FBA. So that means you can basically price it at whatever you want. Now, take that with a grain of salt. I sold a book for $700 more than the lowest prime offer, than the lowest offer. I was the only prime offer. And it was simply because I had 2-day shipping and they didn't. And so this really works for fast moving product. And I promise you, if you implement this, like if you price your prime products when there's no prime offers at higher prices, you can really squeeze out a lot more profit. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that in my presentation. But again, if you guys have a GoToLister account and you want to enter the giveaway, comment your email below. And also just, if you don't have an account yet, sign up and comment your email. We have George up next, who is doing, let me stop sharing my screen real quick let me get the YouTube people back on. There we go. Good. And get back over here on Zoom. This is pretty crazy, guys. How to get back to Zoom? Give me 1 second. We got George, who's doing $10,000 a month. Let me ask him to unmute himself. He's down in Louisiana, strictly cherry picking, worked as a banker, correct? I want to make sure I get this right.
Correct.
Yeah.
For banker.
Worked as a broker banker. And so the reason why I say that is he's not a dumbass. He understands numbers and he knows how to run a business, and he's doing this the right way. It's a very simple business model he's doing. And I don't even know exactly what he's going to share with you today, but I know it's going to be good. And I know it's working for him because he's doing $10K a month. So welcome, George, and take it away.
Great. Thanks, Avery.
Yep.
A little bit of background. Yes, I'm a former banker. I'm a real estate investor, and now I'm a book investor. And I started this journey about a year ago. I discovered used books through Reselling, like a lot of us have. And I soaked up every bit of information from YouTube and everything else. And I launched. And so I've been following the thrifting model, cherry picking. I get almost all of my inventory from thrift stores and one library sale a month. And for the first 9 months of this, I was making all the beginner mistakes. I was buying anything that showed green on the scanner. And I ended up, after doing that for about 9 months, I had a lot of books, but I also had a lot of crap. It just low profit, and it was truly a struggle. I was sending in more books than I am today. I had an ASP of I think $14, and it just wasn't working. So in February, I got rid of about 600 books. I got up to about 4,000 active listings. And this February, I reduced it by about 600, getting rid of a lot of the beginner mistakes. And today, my inventory is not perfect. It sits at, I think, 3,300 active books. And I still have a lot of duds in there that I'm slowly getting rid of. But I'm becoming more profitable, and my ASP is about 22 now.
Nice.
And yeah, and so let's see. Also in February, my wife joined. My wife handles prepping books, packing them, and shipping, which is a huge relief for me. I can focus on thrifting, on sourcing, and so our goal is to do 2 boxes a day, 10 boxes a week. And we've been hitting that goal every week since February, and we've been noticing our sales continuously growing. And so that's one of the lessons there. It's buy good inventory and send it in consistently. And yes, right now you see, I source, so 2.5 days a week. Typically,
I think you covered.
Spreadsheet.
There you go. I can hear you better now. For some reason, it sounded weird for a second, but I can hear you.
Okay, good.
Yep.
I listed all of my thrift stores. There are about 25 of them within a 2-hour drive, and so I put those in a spreadsheet. I sorted it by the distance, and so say Monday and Tuesday, I'll go to the furthest ones, and then Wednesday I'll spend half the day with the local thrifts. And when I say local, within an hour of it. And so in all, yes, 2.5 days a week, typically 8 hours on long days, 4 hours on short days. And yes, we're at between 10 and 12,000 in sales right now. And I expect that to continue to grow because just as we all say, you feed the beast. And we're selling maybe 500 books every 30 days, and we're sending in about 1,000 every 30 days. And so that snowball is just continuing to get bigger and bigger. And that's what they all say. I think Caleb used the called it a flywheel. Once you really get that flywheel cranking, it just becomes more powerful and more powerful. So that's what we've been focusing on.
Heck yeah. So whatever questions you guys have in the chat, or is that the most of your presentation, or do you have anything else you want to share?
Let me see.
Because we can get some questions flowing if not.
Yes, yeah, that's it. Really, in a nutshell, how I went from 0 to 10,000 a month.
Heck yeah, it's working, man. So yeah, we'll take some questions. We'll give priority to Zoom people. So if you guys want, if you have your cameras on, if you want to physically raise your hand, or you can do that little weird emoji thing, click on actual, like, raise your hand, and somewhere and it'll raise your hand and bump you up to me.
And one thing I can go through while we're questions, I wrote down. What are some of the tools? I still love repricing. We get a lot of Facebook. We get a lot of questions about repricers. Repricer to me is just it's simple, and it's dangerously effective once you get it set up right. So I really love repricing.
Yeah, that's been a staple of the Book Selling community for a long time. All right, questions. I can't see too many of y'all. So do the weird emoji thing. You guys should be able to click on somewhere on the screen, raise hand. And unless your name is Bill, Ray, or Greg, I can see you guys. So if you guys have questions.
Somebody just asked one about Repricer, and yes, I do use Reprice It, and the triggers that I have, not triggers, the schedules and the settings that I use, I found from Mike the Used Book Guy on his YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And I modified them a little bit for my sources, but yes, Reprice It, and then go to Mike's channel.
Sweet. Questions? I can see most people that have their camera on now. If you guys have questions and you got your camera on. Oh, we got Susie. She figured out how to do it. What's up, Susie? What question do you have?
What kind of books do you typically cherry pick? What make up most of your inventory?
It's going to be exclusively nonfiction to begin with. I like religion, art, history, science, math, architecture, engineering, some textbooks, but thrifting for textbooks is it's hit or miss. But I do run across the textbooks here and there, but as we know, textbooks, they wither on the vine very quickly once the new editions come out.
Thank you.
Sure, and somebody just asked, who is Mike on YouTube? Look up just do a search for Mike the Used Book Guy on YouTube, and you'll find his channel.
Yep.
I don't even know his last name, frankly.
Mike. Do I even know his last name? On Facebook, he's Mike the Used Book Guy too. So.
Yes, exactly.
Other questions? Camera people get priority. If not, raise your emoji hand.
And one other piece of equipment, I love Scout. I used to use Scout IQ until 3 Colts.
Good thing I'm not hanging out with Caleb anymore. He wouldn't even
once
care.
Caleb got rid of it. But I like Scoutly, and again, Mike the Used Book Guy, that's where I get my my Scoutly triggers.
We should get Mike on here. Mike actually was on this our first boot camp a year ago, or was it our first or second boot camp? I can't believe we haven't done a boot camp all year. If you guys like this, drop a 1 in the chat if we should do this more often. And somebody else put your hand up, put your emoji hand. Look at this age we live in. We got emoji hands. Can't even use your real hand.
Mike is a legend. I saw that.
We'll wait. I think Steve might have a question.
Seller list and go-to list. I'm using both. Thank you, Avery. Restricted inventory. Keepa. Have to have Keepa. Seller amp and books run.
Lower hand. Let me lower Susie's hand. If you have a question, I think you can unmute yourself. Steve, are you able to unmute yourself or no? No. Okay. Yeah. If you guys have questions, you have to. Oh, we got Ray with a question. Camera people. Boom. What's up, Ray? Asking him. There you go. Good. We can hear you.
Yeah. Hey, Gio. How long? So each week when you're outsourcing, do you have like a certain number you try to hit?
Yes, I've got 3 big plastic totes that I keep in the back seat of my truck, and I intend to fill those totes, and I'll keep scouting until I do.
Right.
Typically, those 3 totes will provide me with about 200 books, and typically my boxes contain about 25 books, and so that gets me almost to where I need to be for that week. And so then my half-day local scouting will cover the other 50 books. And I know it costs more to send in boxes. My boxes average about 30 pounds. It's more efficient to approach the 50, but my wife does the shipping, and I don't want her lifting a 50-pound box if she doesn't have to. And so I like the box between 30 and 35 pounds. And so that's how it works out, the number that I'm shooting for when I'm scouting.
And are you doing specifically books, or are you also doing any disc media?
Good question. Again, from Mike Hughes, book guy, he suggests getting into disc media. And so I've been going, typically I ignore them. It just seemed that the profits weren't there, but I found just like books, it's about a 5% hit rate for the good CDs. I haven't even started with DVDs. I hear that DVDs are a little more dangerous when it comes to getting your account locked down. I don't know why. Counterfeit claims or whatever, I understand, can be higher for DVDs. And so really I've stuck with the CDs, and I did a shipment today of 50 of them, and I think the estimated profit was $460, which is great for one box. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good. Yeah, because I'm a one-man show, so I've been doing books. I'm here in more of a rural area, and I put an ad in the local paper saying free book pickups, and the floodgates open. I mean, people, libraries, everybody was calling me saying, hey, we've got free books, just make them go away because they're taking up space in their heavy boxes and so on and so forth. And I had to buy a trailer to go pick up book lots, and so now it's just like, okay, I need to go to something more lighter. So, because also, Mike, I'm slowly right now. I'm about 75 books, 25 discs, but I'm going to try to slowly reverse that because I would definitely like to do way more in the disc media than the books.
Sure, and I did the same thing. I put out those ads on Facebook Marketplace and everything, and I just got a lot of shit books, and so bulk, semi-bulk was not for me, and so I moved away from that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, exactly. So I was just wondering if you're doing the disc media stuff. That's definitely where I'm headed as well.
Yeah, I like it.
Yep. Cool. Thanks, Gio.
Sweet. Yep. We'll keep Q&A going. Briefly, I want to tell you guys again, if you guys want to enter for the $1,000 giveaway, again, I'm going to Venmo you 500 cash, and then I'm going to ship you everything I have over here, right there. And that's about $600 in profit. And also, we have so many people in here. We got Eric in here. We got George, Steve. I'm gonna let you guys run some Q&A. I'm gonna unmute you in just a second, Eric. I think you had a weird noise going on, so maybe your hand was near the mic or something. But guys, like, take advantage of this next 30 minutes that we have, because these people are all selling over 10,000 a month. Like, they're living the dream. Like, they're doing exactly what you think. Like, when you start this business and you want to get to 10K a month, like, these are the people doing it. And they've been doing it for years. Eric's been doing it just as long as I have. Like, back in 2017, 2018, we were in the Facebook groups together. And thank you for always coming on, brother. And so I'll ask you to mute yourself real quick. You can briefly introduce yourself, but you're crushing it. You're doing like 15K a month now, I think, out in California, strictly cherry picking.
Yeah, how's this sound?
It's good. There's something weird. It's like I don't know if that's like a bumblebee attacking you or.
I'm on the road, so I'm in a Starbucks, so there's some empty place. So let me just head outside real quick. Yeah, I'm out of here. I can work on.
Okay, sounds good now.
Yeah, oh, you're good now?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's just do this. So yeah, I guess I'm just going to do Q&A. So
Yeah. Just introduce yourself. Like, I mean, I said you're doing about 15K in sales. What are your sales at again?
Some we talked that I did 18K that month. And I think I misspoke when I would average $7 profit. It's more like it goes between 6 to 7, maybe and above. Like,
okay.
Like a couple months ago, I got like $7.50 a profit per unit, and this month it's back down to $6. So it kind of hovers between.
Gotcha.
On what I said.
Sweet. And you're mainly just running routes. You're going to library sales, thrift stores. You're very strategic with how you set your week up.
Yeah, I kind of have to be because there was a time where I could do what Gio does and just work like 2-3 days a week. It's just not around where I'm at. And I guess I could still do that, but it's too stressful if I feel like I'm behind. I'm trying to just like, I don't know. I actually source every day, but I source like 4 days a week. I aim for like 30 or 40 units a day. And then 3 days a week I'll source and aim for 60 to 80 units and 3 days. And it's just, I have the security of feeling like, oh, I already hit like 50% of my quota for the week. So it's just
Do you have like a ring or something on your hand that's like affecting the mic? It's like sounds like something's interfering with it. You sound good when you move it sometimes. I don't know what it is. It's a text vibration, somebody's saying. Are you getting text messages?
Oh, yeah.
Put that on Do Not Disturb.
Sorry. Give me a minute.
Shout out to whoever that was. We'll get you 2 entries for the $1,000 giveaway.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, we'll let you fix that real quick. So whoever's got questions, you guys can ask Eric, George, Steve. I'll let you guys fire away, but all these guys are doing above 10K a month. Steve is mainly doing eBay to Amazon, but he definitely knows his stuff when it comes to thrifting. George is 100% books, and Eric is books, CDs, DVDs. So let's run it. Natalia, you got a question? Put you on the spot. She's like, nope. She's always on the weekly calls. Who else we have? Tiffany, Maribeth, Bill.
I think we should be good with the sound. It's not happening like constantly, is it?
Yeah, it's like I hear it right there. Yeah, I don't know if, just swipe down and put Do Not Disturb if you can.
I just did, so I don't know what's going on. Sorry about that, guys.
We'll give priority to people who can unmute themselves. So if you guys want to raise your hand, there should be an option somewhere on the screen to raise your hand. Since we don't always get 100 people on a Zoom call, so I'll give you guys the priority. George, do you have a question? What is that?
I'm muted.
You're unmuted now. We can hear you.
Okay, good. Are you?
Yep. All right, sweet. All right, we got a lot of people in the comments section. You guys aren't able to figure out how to raise your emoji hands, so I'll read off some questions. Drop your questions in the comments. We got Ken saying, how do you grow to 18K a month? We've been stuck at 10K for the last 3 months and selling 400 to 500 items a month. We'd love any tips to scale. So I'll let you take that one, Eric.
Yeah. Apologize if the noise is weird again. I'm trying my best, but
as long as you talk, it's good. It's like in the silence, actually. So.
Oh, well, okay. I can just mute when I'm not talking. How about that?
Yeah.
So basically, I sell 1,000 units a month, and the way I get there, my advice would be to get as many sources as you can. Just write them all down and put them in like routes. Your goal is to define each route in terms of your sourcing quota and how much is reasonable that you can reach per route, for how many units you can reach if you hit a certain route, right? So let's say you have 5 thrift stores in a route. What's the reasonable amount that you can reach? Reasonable amount of units you can reach for that particular route of 5 thrift stores, and say, okay, that I can probably get like, pretty sure I can get 30, 40 units in that route. So, that's, I can plan my week accordingly that way. And I have like 20, I guess like 10, I think I have 15, 20 routes that I use, and I don't even hit them all the time. It's just that because I'm hitting estate sales and library sales too. So I plan around the different sales that happen.
That's crazy. 15 to 20 routes. So you just got them in your back pocket like that. Let's see. I'll let George. I'll let you take this one. How long do you wait on a book before liquidating?
Well, this is a wimpy answer, but it depends on the book. If it's high profit but long tail, if the profit is great enough to make up for the long-term storage fee, I'll let it ride. If it's a low profit book, something I shouldn't have sent in, I'll get rid of it in 6 months.
What about you, Eric? Gotta unmute yourself. Yep. Okay. Boom.
So I muted myself when I wasn't talking for the noise. But sorry, what was the question again?
When do you liquidate a book? How long do you wait on a book?
Basically, I would recommend just checking your inventory, I guess, like once a month, and just go to Seller Central and organize everything by date listed. And if it's really low, if the price just drop, just drop it as much as to get it out of your inventory. I mean, you can do it maybe every quarter if you don't want to do it every month, but so I'm not even that on top of it, to be honest with you. I don't even remember the last time I just kind of let my pricer do it for me. So yeah.
Nice. Steve, we got someone asking for people in the eDay Masterclass. Besides, what other tools do we need? Bookmine, flipping, Scout IQ. What's your advice? That's a very general question, but I'll let you kind of take that.
SellerAmp is really important. I know George was talking about that. So SellerAmp is really good. By the way, George, nice talk, man. I love your energy, bro.
Thank you, bud.
Yes, sir. And IP Alert for sure. If you're going to do products outside of media, IP Alert is really important for kind of getting an idea if you're going to, be at a higher risk for an IP complaint. But honestly, you don't even need it. Keepa is like my number one resource. I know George already mentioned that, but Keepa, like honestly, everybody here, if you're new, the one skill you can learn is to really get a good grasp of Keepa.
Get a good graph of Keepa.
Yeah, get a graph. No, a grasp of Keepa, right? Learn how to read the graphs because like George was saying before, and we all make these mistakes. We trust these apps way too much. And if you really understand Keepa, you'll eliminate 95% of the mistakes you make when you're scanning.
Yeah.
So
we got Shane with a question here. I'm giving priority to everybody who's got their cameras on. So big shout out to Shane. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. You can ask any of the speakers at all.
I just had a question regarding, it's great if there's a way to get out of getting your account suspended, through thrift stores and stuff. But if you're garage selling and stuff, you pick up a book and you get a counterfeit complaint.
Yeah.
You just make up a receipt and send it in.
Same concept. I mean, basically, like the idea is like, as a reseller, you don't know, like a lot of materials coming in and going out. And so if you get a counterfeit claim, like the philosophy that me and David are kind of thinking is, well, let's have proof of a bulk purchase at some point, or like a general purchase from a thrift store, and then using that spreadsheet, or not spreadsheet, but that PDF where he kind of like, it's like a nice looking receipt, and then putting the ASIN It's like the
Got it.
bulk order invoice, and then putting the ASIN in question there. That's what we
I
find to
understand.
work. So, yeah, and it's worked for us. So,
Thank you.
yep. Other questions? If you guys have the emoji hand, raise it up. Let's get a question.
Somebody asked about NeuroPrice.
Yeah, do you want to take that one?
Sure. In fact, I'm subscribed to NeuroPrice right now, just testing it against Reprice It. And I like the idea because it's you use it right inside of Seller Central. It's a Chrome extension, but two things that drive me bonkers with it. One, it's not automatic.
Yeah.
So you have to physically reprice. And when you do, it can take 3 and 4 hours to reprice. And I don't have time just to sit around and wait for it to reprice. And so I like the idea of having it as an add-on to Seller Central, but I think just it needs to be a little bit more polished.
Need to get Peter Valley in here one of these days.
Yes.
That man's hard to get a hold of. Actually, sometimes he replies to my emails. We got Robert with a question. What's up?
Hey, what's up? Thanks a lot for taking the question.
100%.
I was wondering, I know like if I'm doing thrifting or library sales and such, gotta go really fast. Okay, that's all well and fine. I try to. But with Keepa, when do you use it? I mean, is there a certain book you use it on, or do you I mean, at the end of the day, do you hit every book with Keepa?
That's a great question. I'll let George and Eric answer that. Eric, I'll let you go ahead and answer that one first.
No, I only look at Keepa if it's like a slower selling item. So for me, that would be like, I guess the seller's rate worse well, I'm going by eScore, so eScore worse than 10. But if you're talking about seller's rate for books, I guess Elliot or worse would be a good book bound. CDs and DVDs. I think of CDs and DVDs like you just you remove a 0 from the sales rate for books, and that would be good. CDs and DVDs 100K is 1 0 less than a million sales rate, and so that's when I would think about for CDs and DVDs.
Great, George. What's your mentality with that?
Well, it does make sense that Keepa makes more sense if you're doing online book arbitrage. But also, I'm the same way. If I have a book that it looks like it's going to be expensive, or it looks like it has a long tail, but it may have some promise, I'll go ahead and look at the Keepa. I may look at the Keepa for the last 3,000 days just to see maybe the book died, but it's improving, and so that helps me when I'm pricing it. It also helps me when I'm getting ready to liquidate. I want to see if the book has legs, and Keepa can tell me that. Keepa, I don't look at it on every single book. When you're looking at $5 and $8 profits on books, you use GoToList, or you just roll with it. Smart repricing, you don't pull up the Keepa app every time. But for certain books, it does make sense. And mainly on thrifted books, the Keepa app, Keepa Chrome extension, when you're at the Amazon website, that's the one mainly that we use when we're listing.
Awesome. So we got Sean with the question here. Let me ask you to unmute yourself. Or can you unmute yourself? Rustam, can you unmute him real quick? Mr. Rustam Ramos. Click on Sean and click on unmute. I just made my assistant the host so he can view the previous conversation and add up everyone's email. He should be getting you in just a second here. Or not. We will. Let me read a question real quick while we're waiting on Rustam. how do you itemize books that were attained for free or resell books that were free? George, you want to take that? When you get free books, how do you itemize them?
Itemize? What does that mean?
I guess like accounting for cost, but it'd be free. You just probably put free books and go to a lister and list them. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, typically I have just a standard buy price. If I've got just a boatload that came free, yes, I'm going to adjust that. But otherwise, I'm going to use my $1.50 as my standard book price and just roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Nice. I just gave my host to my assistant, and now he's not responding. Let's see what else we got here. Do you see any other questions in the chat? I mean, how many hours a week are you dedicating for 10K in sales? Says Tiffany. Shout out to Tiffany, by the way. She's got a camera on.
What was the question?
How many hours a week are you dedicating to 10K a month in sales? I got you next, Sean, in just a second here.
Yeah, about 16 hours.
Okay. What about you, Eric?
So it depends on the week. I know generally I source every day, but that's not actually true. Some weeks I get ahead and I just say, okay, I'm just gonna take the rest of the week off or whatever. So I guess it ranges between like 25 to 40 hours. Yeah.
Nice. Sean, what question you got? You should be able to mute yourself now.
Okay, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, apologies for all these technical difficulties. That's what happens when I come back from a camping trip. Things are crazy.
Yeah, I get you. So my question is, I'm just kind of curious, if you have like a $5 to $8 profit, which is what I try to shoot for, $5 minimum, and go to is, it's a million plus rank, would you take the time to send it in? I've checked, there would be FBA, maybe one other seller, maybe two other sellers. But would you take the time and trouble to send it in if it was like between $1 million to $1.5 million range?
I'm going to answer this.
$7 profit.
I'm going to answer this and I'll let Steve. Actually, this is such a good question. I think we should all kind of like give our 2 cents on it. I actually kind of skipped my presentation today, but this is part of what I was going to present about. And I was waiting for someone to ask a question to really bring it up. But here's an example. Like what I promised you guys, I would share books that a lot of people leave on the shelf. And I think people leave these books on the shelf that are between 1 and 3 million rank that could be profitable. You're saying between $5 and $8?
Yeah.
Usually I'm considering a little bit higher than that. But I think a lot of people leave these books on the shelf. But like not all 1.5 million ranked books are created the same. So let me show you guys real quick with Scout IQ. There's actually a DVD. So I scanned this. And even if you guys can't see all the details on my screen, which it looks like you can, this is always a really good sign when you see not that much activity going on there. So you guys see how there's only three used offers. You guys see that on the screen there? There's only 3 used offers. So that's much better than if there's like 40. And then to your point about the FBA offers, like if something's 2 million rank and there's 10 FBA offers, like I'm not even going to consider it in a thrift store unless their profit's like way up there. But I just know the chances are so low of it selling. This has an E-score 2. The sales rank is atrocious. It's 247,000, which would be equivalent to like a 2.4 million ranked book. So this is basically a 2.4 million ranked book with an E-score of 2, but there's only 3 used offers. So that's pretty good. I like my odds there because the E-score 2 means it sold at least 2 times in the last 6 months. And since I only have 3 people to compete against and there's no FBA offers, I can come in at the low price and match it. So my philosophy is, I definitely want the profit to be up there, but I'm looking at how much FBA competition is there. And if there's 0 FBA competition, I'm much more likely to purchase it. That's just me though. What do you think, Steve? You got an opinion on that? I'll ask you to mute yourself real quick. Boom.
Yeah, so if I had a book that was a $5 to an $8 profit and I was listing it with GoToLister, or if you were in the thrift store, This is why I like to use Keepa, because if the rank's really high, I don't necessarily. I hate rank. I wish these apps showed monthly sales instead. I know there's eScore and whatnot, but what I would do if I was listing a book and I was like $5 to $8 profit, I would open up Keepa and I would take a look to see how many green drops there has been over the last 3 to 6 months. And when you see those green drops, I'm going to correlate those green drops to what the price is at the time. So like on Keepa, you're looking, typically you could look at that black line, which is the lowest offer, or you can look at the used buy box. And you can take a look what it's been selling for in the past. So that's the big thing that I'd be looking at. How many actual sales have I seen in the past? And then like Avery said, how many sellers are on the listing? If the number of sellers is increasing rapidly and there's not a lot of demand for it, then I'd be a little wary of it. And the reason we all have to be careful about sending in books that might never sell, because you're going to have to pay to get those things destroyed or shipped back to you, or you can try to liquidate them if Amazon will pay you for it. So I'm a huge believer in looking at what happened in the past, and I make decisions. If I've seen sales in the past and it's at a decent price, that's how I make my decision. And George, you use GoToLister, right?
Right.
Have you listed in the last couple of days with it yet?
No.
His wife is the one that lists, right?
You should see
yes,
that.
my wife is. Well, we're trying to get my Rolo knockoff printer to work with GoToLister, and it's just not working.
Yeah, we're converting him from AccelerList. He's going back and forth between AccelerList and GoTo.
Well, the point I wanted to make is big shout out to Avery and their developer. They just launched a new feature out 2 days ago where, you know, when it'll smart price for you, but now if you hover your cursor over the price, it'll bring up all the offers and a Keepa chart that's dynamic that you could switch from 30, 90, 180 days. So you can see that all that info right there. Like, it's saving me like probably 30 to 45 seconds per listing now. And I can see all the data right then and there. That's not going to help you in the thrift store, obviously, Sean, but when you're listing it, that's a huge game changer right there. So check that out, or have your wife check it out, man.
A genius must have come up with that idea.
Well, and talking about Keepa, and that brings up another point, is that one of the reasons why the ranking may be so high is because of stock outs. I mean, if you have a book that, we'll call it thinly traded, use a stock term, that's only in stock, in seller stock, every 6 months. And so that ranking is going to be just way the hell up there. And so if you bring it in and you bring it into stock and find one, you list it, it's going to sell very quickly and probably for a lot more than the $5 or $8 profit. And so that's another important thing that we use with Keepa is looking at stock outs. That to me is very important when I'm trying to judge a book.
Awesome, sweet. We're still tallying up these emails, so big shout out. We got a lot of people coming through. Kelly, Gopher, RD Cruz, Jordan, a lot of new GoToLister users coming through. If you guys are existing GoToLister users or you just signed up, be sure to put your email below. You guys can enter too, George and Eric, if you want. And this will put you in the drawing for $500 CDs, DVDs, books, mainly just books, but I do have a CDs, DVDs I'm going to throw in there. And then $500 cash on Venmo to one person on this call. We'll get going there shortly with that. Tiffany, what's up?
So to go back to what you were saying, Avery, about, you know, the 2 million mark, right? Do you know folks that have business models who do both FBA and merchant sales? I know a lot of it has to do with space.
Yeah. Eric, are you doing both? Are you doing both, Eric? I'm going to ask you. There you go.
I'm working. Over the past months, I've been setting aside.
Maybe if you pick your phone up a little bit more, it kind of sounds like you're far away. There you go.
Yeah, I've been over
That's better.
I've been blocking merchant fulfilled, putting in storage while I'm sourcing for FBA, and I haven't actually started listing anything out yet. But I'm moving towards that model, and I'm expecting to get money once I finally get it. It's all really good inventory. There's slower sellers, but they're gonna make me at least $30 profit out of this. So I got like, I guess like one shelf. And well, actually two if I.
Gotcha. It is a little hard to hear you with that bumblebee attacking you. George, do you have a philosophy on MF? I forget, do you do MF?
Yeah,
We
do
got
own
Brian
very
Fisher
long
next.
tail
I'm
books.
gonna get Brian's opinion on this next. He's
I've got about 200.
okay. And your philosophy is just long tail stuff. You want to help her out maybe with like what are you MFing versus FBA?
Can you hear me? Okay. I had to notice that my internet connection was bad. Yes, to me, it's the long tail stuff. I mean, the very long tail stuff, but it has shown that it's sold in the past and it may sell once a year. I'll go ahead and keep it on the shelf. I've got a lot of shelf space. I've got a lot more than this. But mainly, I try to stick with the FBA, and I will send the 2 and 3 and 4 million ranked books to FBA. Liquidation has just been great. Like I said, a few months back, I liquidated 600 books, and I'm still liquidating some. And so hopefully Amazon's not going to cancel that, but it allows us to correct our mistakes a little bit. But with that in mind, I'll send some very long tail books in FBA, and if they don't sell, I'll go ahead and liquidate. But like I said, if the profit is great enough, I'll go ahead and pay the long-term storage fee if the profit's going to make up for that long-term storage fee.
Nice. Does that answer your question? Awesome. Next question. Oh, we had Brian get all excited over that question. Let me see if I can ask him to unmute himself. We'll see if Brian comes back. I think he ran somewhere. He ran to his merchant fulfilled room or something. What's up, Shane? Oh, Brian's back. Brian, do you want to comment on that real quick? I thought you had something to say, Brian, about the MF question.
Well, what I had to say about regarding the long-term storage fee, I figured I do the same thing. I just send them an FBA. If it's long-term, I get $300 for $1 a book. It's covering my long-term storage fees for all my books for quite a long time. So I'll let it sit there for, 6 to 8 months or a year. And I'm pretty happy with it and don't have to worry about those little, because you figure, I don't know how much long-term storage fee is, but if it's 20 cents a month on a book, it's going to take a long time to eat up that profit margin.
Robert, you got a question? Appreciate that, Shane. Ask you to unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I was wondering.
Hey, Lena, can you go let
I got my question.
Taylor in?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I have a book. It's a really small book, but
wait, never
it's
mind.
showing a profit of
You said 10 minutes. Never mind.
And
thank you.
The thing is, God, I don't remember not the sales rank, but the one in the middle.
E-score?
E-score.
Yeah, that's it. If it says 0, should I just stay away from that book altogether? I mean, I got it for a quarter.
That's a great question. Not necessarily. I mean, if it says $1,000 profit and E-score is 0, it could still sell once every 2 years or something. It just means it hasn't sold over the last 6 months. So personally, I'll take that book. George, when you see E-score is 0, are you looking into it at all? Or what profit threshold are you looking for?
No, I always look into it. And if it says some kind of crazy profit like that, it may just be a one-off and somebody's repricer went crazy on it. But I'll take my chances. I mean, you say you pay a quarter for the book, go ahead and buy it, put it in your cart, and then do your research. And that's where Keepa comes in again. Do your research, find out if that's a false flag. If it's real, yes, list it.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, it seems to be real. It was at that high price back. Last time it sold was 2019, but that was a price back then.
Yeah. Just make sure to match the low price. You don't want to be sitting above that low price.
Okay.
Yeah. And then also I would like do a price similar to what it sold for in the past. So if it sold like for $400 in the past and it's now listed at $900, you know, you might have to drop it to $400, just depending on the circumstances. But if you know for a fact it's sold for $400, you know you can probably get that again.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep, 100%. Other questions? We'll give priority to the camera people. No questions from Miss Natalia tonight? Oh, she does have one. Ask it to me yourself.
I wrote it in the chat, but I was curious as to when long-term storage fees started. Is it 6 months?
I'm going to let Eric talk on that. I feel like you're pretty good with that stuff.
I think it's around six months, or might be 8 months. Yeah, I think there's like a 6 to 8 months long-term storage fee that you would look at.
Yeah, they always give you a preview of it before it happens.
Yeah, you can look it up. Seller Central, if you just search long-term storage fees, if they're like wired, whatever.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, 180 days is usually when they kick in, but I know they've changed. They're always changing it.
Okay, yeah, that's helpful.
Boom. Other questions? Kelly, what's up? Yeah, we can hear you.
So I just started this like last weekend.
Mhm.
It's crazy. I think I have a rare book. How do I know if it is? I mean, what I looked up, there's a couple on eBay and like 8 books. And it says it's like $3,500 because it's a signed edition.
Mhm.
It's signed by Warren Buffett and the author. And it's in like pristine condition. How do I know?
What I like to do, this is kind of a cop-out answer, but there's this guy on Instagram, and his name is Common Grounds Finds. So, and he'll reply to every single person's DM. So it's Common Ground Finds _ I think. See if that pops up. Yeah,
Oh, that's Max.
Max. Yep, Max Ruback.
Okay.
And just send him a picture of the book, and he'll literally tell you, you know, what it's worth. I'm not a rare book expert. He's got like a group that focuses on that kind of stuff. But honestly, like that's what I do. What do you do, George?
I do the same thing. I send a lot of things to Max, and most of the time there's no, hey, how's it going, George? What's been going on? It's pass.
Got it.
That's all you hear from Max. Pass.
Yeah.
And if you ever do have those, do you use like an authenticator or something like that? Because I was like, one of them had that they have like like it's certified that yes, that's Warren Buffett's signature, blah blah blah.
If from my experience, no, but I've never had a $3,500 book. That opens up a whole different realm, and so selling a book like that, if for instance, if Max says, yes, that's a keeper, look deeper into it, that's when you start the signature verification and everything else.
Okay.
That can get very expensive.
Yeah, I did look that up quickly. But yeah, also if you're gonna like send those to to get it authorized, do you just use like regular USPS or do you FedEx it or UPS? What do you try? I mean, like, I don't really trust transportation companies. So they've lost a couple of things, or it just gets very, very delayed.
Bubble wrap.
Bubble. Okay, I like that. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, somebody wrote Worth Point as well. Yes, Worth Point is a good, they're a good source of information.
All right, we're tallying up these last few emails. If you guys, I don't want everybody to comment their email again, but if in the last 30 minutes, if you didn't comment your email, there may have been some emails we missed like early on. So go ahead and comment your email again if you're not sure if if you would have commented it in the last 30, and my team will make sure you're on there, and he won't double enter you. And then, yeah, we'll keep a few more questions going here. Who else has questions? Is there a tip that says a book is counterfeit? Go to stopcounterfeitbooks.com. You can, yep, stopcounterfeitbooks.com is a good website you can go to look and see what a counterfeit book looks like.
Same with Books Run.
Books Run, yeah. In terms of identifying, like you're putting in the calculator they have.
Yes, I'll typically just scan it. If it's textbook, I'll scan it. If Books Run counterfeit check, and it's not a guarantee, but it will tell me if it's likely or unlikely to be counterfeit.
What about you, Eric? What are you doing for counterfeits?
Yeah, I use Books Run, and well, I also look at rankings. I don't really check if a book is counterfeit. I don't worry if it's selling for I guess $35. It's like whatever. They're not going to make money if they don't. It's like a, I guess, worse than if it's a slower seller. So I don't know what sales rate that would be. I guess like 600 here worse for these four. Like, I guess 30 East worse. I don't really worry about it because they're looking for turnover as well.
Gotcha.
So.
Sweet. Get a few more questions in here, and then I'm gonna give one of you guys $1,000. Sound like a deal? Who else do we have with questions? We'll give camera people priority, or raise that emoji hand. Michelle says, "Woo woo." Amy, do you got a question? Or are you just popping in? Cindy, you're sitting there. You just come here with $1,000, or do you have any questions? Let me ask you. Oh, she said, I'm here for the money. You guys have pretty good odds of winning. We have 20 people entered. That's a 1 in 20 chance. So comment your emails below if you haven't already. And again, all you need to do to enter is go to gotolister.com. Sign up for a free trial. It's the fastest listing software on the planet. Comment your email below, and you'll also get access to our smart pricing, our profit reports. Like Steve was saying, we have Keepa now. So as you're listing, you can view Keepa. There's a lot of cool stuff. But we help you list items faster, get them out the door, and make more money in the process. So get a free trial. Go to lister.com. Comment below. Let's see. Anyone else got questions with cameras on? Ashley, Bill, Maribeth.
Somebody's asking if GoToLister works in Canada.
Not currently. Rachel says she's quiet because she's listing a batch. What's up, Ashley?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm kind of new at this, and I'm trying different software. So I just got a profile for the Beat tool, or however you say that, for free pricing. And I was wondering what you guys thought of it. Some of the software is kind of confusing for me, so I just want to take my time and learn it all. I'm not trying to rush into things, but I'm trying all the different tribes and stuff like that. But what do you guys think of the repricing softwares?
I feel like we heard George's opinion on it earlier. Eric, what do you do with repricing?
I used to use Reprice It, and I think it's a good option if you're brand new. It's pretty simple to set up, but you definitely want to be careful about how you set it up. So yeah, go to Mike the Used Book Guide. Price It, schedules, and settings. Actually, I also use Price. I like it a lot, and I don't really mind manually talking to price because I just basically click on it and go over how you want it, and then come back and it's done. So you don't have to be there while it's repricing.
Yeah. You guys have any
Do you have it for the Be Cool?
I've used, but I've never tried it, so I don't know.
I used Be Cool about 3 months ago, and the issue I had, one, it's expensive, but two, I felt I had to babysit it because my pricing errors, whether low or high pricing errors, just mushroomed. They went crazy, and maybe it was user error, but I didn't really want to have to babysit my repricer, and I felt for the 3 weeks that I used it, I really was, and so I went back to reprice it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, thanks.
Sweet. Thanks, Ashley. Amy?
Thanks, Al. Can someone speak to what liquidating some inventory means?
Yeah, so
I just don't understand it.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Once your inventory gets to a certain age, you should always try and sell it. So if you can sell it, which could be a form of liquidating, like if you're dropping the price so low that it's at a loss. So try to sell it first, then you can remove it, which I don't really recommend removing it unless you know it's valuable and you know you can sell it somewhere else, which is pretty rare. So usually we just end up disposing of it. So we pay 50 cents or somewhere in that range to just get rid of it. So disposing is liquidating it. And then there's also something called, I think they call it liquidation, where is that what they call it, Eric? Where they will purchase it back at a 10% of the market value price. There's a liquidation option they have now on Amazon that'll supposedly they'll pay you for the inventory that is they'll pay you for the inventory that whatever value they think it's at, they'll pay you for it. But I haven't heard a lot of people having success with that. So those are different options.
So you want to try to avoid it if possible.
Well, it's inevitable at some point. You're going to have to either dispose of it or click on that liquidation option.
Well, and yes, when you're reducing your inventory, you have three options within Seller Central. One is liquidate. The other is
remove and dispose.
Remove, which they send it back to you, and the last is disposal.
Yeah.
Where they just they get rid of it. With the liquidation, I couldn't figure out how what percent it was of the sale price or whatever.
They say 10%, but it's like according to their valuation of it,
I just view it as I can get rid of it without having to pay anything.
Yeah.
And I was able to do that with, like I said, about 600 books, and it didn't cost me anything because the disposal fee and sending back to you, both of those can be very costly.
All right, we got 37 people entered in the giveaway, so we'll go ahead and get this rocking and rolling. All right, let me do a random number generator here real quick. This is the most ethical way to pick a winner for a giveaway. That way you guys know that I'm not picking favorites. Put 37 in here. And it's number 18. So Rustum, go ahead and message me on WhatsApp who's number 18, and I'll give him a shout out. And that's our $1,000 winner giveaway. Stephen Brown. Where's Stephen Brown at? Is he in the chat? Oh, there he is. He said, "Woot woot." I'm asking him to mute yourself real quick, Stephen. Let me see where you're at. See if you can raise your hand for me or something. I'll find you on here. Boom. I feel like what's that show where they give away prizes? There's a lot of them out there. Steven? Hey, what's up, brother? Congrats.
What's up? Absolutely, man. Sweet.
Yeah, we're gonna, I guess we got your email, so we'll reach out to you. There he is. What you doing? Are you listing books right now?
I got a big pile right here.
Heck yeah, you're about to have a bigger pile. I'm about to ship you these books right here. $600 profit, and then I'll send you 500 on Venmo as well.
Awesome, man. Right on.
All right, brother. Appreciate you. Appreciate
Yeah.
everyone showing up. You guys have a good night. See you guys. Let me see if I can ask you guys to unmute. That's always cool. 1 second. All right, I can't figure it out. I'll see you guys soon. Peace. Thank you, George. Thank you, Eric.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Recording stopped.